Hey folks, welcome to another episode all about addiction. My name's Doug. I'm a former benzo addict, a former opioid addict, tobacco addict. And today's show is going to be about Seroquel versus sleeping pills. Which one is better? And is Seroquel addictive? Many of you people out there may have heard of Seroquel. Many of you may not. This video is going to appeal to people who have issues with insomnia and who have been taking sleeping pills, which I highly say don't do. Seroquel, that's kind of a slippery slope as well. I've never been really addicted to sleeping pills because I always had benzos, along with sleeping pills. I developed sleeping problems back in the late 90s and early 2000s when I was over-medicated and I was being treated by doctors who were, they were working for big pharma, and pharmaceutical reps would come into their office, every 30 minutes and get them to peddle something like Zoloft, Paxil, Prozac, and all these other kind of drugs, which most doctors' offices now won't let a pharmaceutical drug rep in anymore because of the oxycodone, all this other kind of stuff that's been going on. So when it came to me taking things like Restoril, Dalamane, Halcyon, and other types of sleeping pills, I was being treated for a disorder I didn't have, which was major depressive disorder or something like that. I didn't have it, but some quack doctor said I had it, and he convinced me to take the medicine, and I really shouldn't have done it. I was a really gullible person back then. But they tried me on Prozac and Paxil, and both of them weirded me out. Then finally got me on Zoloft, and then they finally raised that up to 150 milligrams, because every time I would go back complaining to them, going, man, I don't feel good. I don't feel good. Oh, well, we need to raise your Zoloft up. You don't feel good because you have depression. The truth was I didn't feel good because I had SSRIs in my system, and my system was saying, I don't want to take this. But, what do doctors know? So I was on like Zoloft 150 milligrams, which was maxed out, and the SSRIs were causing insomnia. Not only insomnia, but other things like brain zaps, where you get a little like that. You feel like you're being electrocuted, but it's only your brain. And while I was on that, I was also on narcotics and taking benzos. And you would think all these things together would help get me sleep. Another reason I couldn't sleep was I was on narcotics. And if you go look through my videos, I've got a video called Opioid-Induced Insomnia. And opioids do induce insomnia in some people. And I was one of those people. So, with all this insomnia and all this complaints of I don't feel right, my doctor goes, let's give you some Restoril. That doesn't work, let's give you some Dalamane. Let's give you some Halcyon, some Ambien, and yada, 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 yada. I never got addicted to any of it, but I would use it long enough to where it would have no effect on me. The only way I got my mind back together was to get off all that stuff. I didn't get off all of it at once. I got off the Zoloft and the sleeping pills, and things got a lot better after that. But I was still addicted to benzos and narcotics, which it took years after that to get out of my system, and now I don't take any of that crap. But when it comes to sleeping pills, I don't recommend them. The only time I would recommend a sleeping pill is, let's say you're in the hospital, you're having a procedure and you can't sleep in the hospital. 1 or 2 nights of getting an Ambien or some other type of sleeping pill that you could tolerate is not a bad thing. But once you start making a habit, that's another slippery slope to go down. As far as what you can do for insomnia, over-the-counter meds like Benadryl 50 milligrams, you can do that. It comes in 25 milligrams. You could try 25 milligrams and melatonin. I don't know where to tell you to start with melatonin, but I take Benadryl 50 milligrams with 10 milligrams of melatonin, and that helps me to sleep. And sometimes when that's not working so good or whatnot, I'll switch it out with Dramamine, which is anti-nausea, not anti-nausea. Well, it is anti-nausea, but it's also anti-vertigo type medication, and it is chemically similar to Benadryl. Benadryl is diphenhydramine, Dramamine is diphenhydramate, and Dramamine, instead of taking 25 and 50, it comes in 50 and 100 milligrams, and it too will help you to get sleep. But don't take Dramamine and don't take Benadryl together, because it will make you sick as a dog. You will not get any sleep. And you can take melatonin. You just got to play around with the melatonin and find out the dose that is right for you. Other options for sleep, other than sleeping pills, is things like Trazadone. Trazadone is an older type antidepressant. My phone is sending me messages. It's an older type, an older type of antidepressant, which does have some effects which will help you to get sleep. I particularly don't like it because as it kicks in, it makes me dizzy. It is a weird feeling that overcomes my body when I've taken Trazadone. Something else you may consider is Seroquel. Seroquel is a newer class of atypical antipsychotic medications, and I know you go, take something for craziness? Well, the thing about Seroquel is it is an antipsychotic medication, which is indicated for things like schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia, and other mental conditions. It works particularly good for people who have psychosis, auditory and visual hallucinations. It also helps to manage mania and bipolar, and some aspects of schizophrenia. But as far as that, if you don't have any psychological problems and you take Seroquel, it's not going to make you crazy or anything. Usually until you get accustomed to it, it will make you very, very sleepy and lethargic. I can say this about Seroquel, that doctors do prescribe this off-label for insomnia. However, the problem with Seroquel, it's not that it is addictive, but once you take Seroquel for a long period of time, which I can't say, more than a month of continued every night, 2 months, 3 months, if you tried to stop taking it, it would be like trying to stop taking Prozac, Paxil, and Zoloft. It's like kicking an SSRI. The receptors in your brain get conditioned to receiving that, and if it doesn't get that, it doesn't create a withdrawal like benzo or alcohol or narcotic. It creates this chaotic storm in your brain, this like, you've been giving me Seroquel and I expect more of it. And the other downside to Seroquel is that Seroquel does not come in pill form that can be easily tapered down from. Seroquel comes typically as a hard pill form that cannot be evenly split, and it typically has an enteric coating over it. Even the instant released has an enteric coating over it. And the reason for the enteric coating is that if you were to ingest just the chemical compound for Seroquel, it would drop your blood pressure just like that. And it does drop your blood pressure, but what that enteric coating does, it helps to minimize the effects of what they call orthostatic hypotension, which is when you get up out of bed or rise up out of a chair and your blood pressure just drops, you'll get dizzy and you could pass out and fall down and hurt yourself. So that is another a negative aspect to Seroquel. It should come in doses to where, let's say you've been taking it for a period of time and you want to stop taking it, you could, split the pill up, or it should come in doses that you could step down from it. Like, let's look at Xanax. Xanax is the perfect drug to come down off of any type of benzo. The reason you can switch to Xanax and come off other benzos is, number one, it's short half-life, and I like that. You can throw the Ashton method out there, long half-life, all you want to, but for every person you point to with the Ashton method, they're still addicted, and they're addicted to either Ativan or Valium or both at the same time, because that's what the Ashton method requires, and it requires you to be on it for up to 2.5 years, depending on how addicted you are. Whereas with Xanax, Xanax comes in 0.25 milligram tablets, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, 1 milligram, and Xanax bars. And it does come in extended releases as well. However, unlike Xanax, where it's the perfect drug to titrate down, because you can keep breaking those 0.25s and a half, which will in turn be 0.125 milligrams. And then if you wanted to further taper off them, you could break those in half and have a microdose of 0.0625 milligrams. Whereas with Seroquel, the lowest dose that it comes in is 25 milligram tablets. And if you tried to split a 12.5 milligram tablet in half, number one, you just broke the enteric coating, which means if you take that tablet, you better keep your happy ass in bed, because once you get out of bed, 20 minutes later, boom, your blood pressure is going to drop. So that's the problem with that. The other problem with it is Seroquel, when you try to titrate down off of it, 12.5 milligrams, a 25 milligram tablet split in half, is not actually a desirable dose. You really want to get something like half than that, like 6.25 milligrams. But unfortunately, you cannot split a Seroquel. You can't make a cross indentation on it and then split it and then split it again. Because once you split it, it fragments. And then once you try to split it again, it fragments, and you never ever get an even dose. And there's people out there going, well, I'll just crush it up and weigh it. Well, if you do that, you're going to have orthostatic hypertension. Hypotension, and number two, you're weighing the enteric coating aspect of it, which has nothing to do with the milligram value or the weight value. And what it will do, it will throw your scale off, and you'll never ever achieve the desired dose that you want to take. So to wrap this up, Seroquel is a really good option, for intermittent sleep problems, even chronic. But another bad aspect, which I failed to mention, is that prolonged use of Seroquel use has also been associated with type 2 diabetes. Don't know why, I can't really get into it right now, but for some reason, if you have prolonged use of Seroquel, and even at higher doses, it may induce type 2 diabetes. But let's say it's the short run, you don't want to mess with sleeping pills, which can leave you groggy. Seroquel can leave you groggy too, but it could be a viable option for those who don't want to mess with sleeping pills and people who don't want to potentially get addicted. I would say a Seroquel 25 every now and then, that's not going to cause you any problem, but if you start doing nightly use of it, it could have an effect on you that you just really don't want. It's not that you'll become addicted to it, it's just that once you stop, your brain will go into chaos. Whereas if you're addicted to benzos, or if you're addicted to narcotics, when you stop doing that, your body has this overall syndrome of not just what's going on in your head, but you'll have anxiety, nausea, you may have vomiting, sweating, chills, cramping, insomnia, and all these other host of problems. But with Seroquel, you don't get that. What you get is your brain screaming at you, you better take another tablet or we're not getting any rest tonight and I'm going to give you problems. I wish I could explain it better than that, but that's basically it. So Trazadone, it's an option. Would I take Trazadone? No, I've tried it before. I don't like it, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't work for you. Sleeping pills, I haven't touched a benzo since September 2016 when I ended my 19-year addiction 2 benzos, doing the 45-day benzo taper. If you're not familiar with that, it's on my channel. It's something I came up with, and it not only worked for me, I walked away from benzos without having any withdrawal symptoms, any long-term or even short-term problems from that. And this is the longest period of time in my life without benzos since before 1997, and that's that. Also, if you're looking for a video about opioid addiction, I discovered in my 20-year off and on addiction process with opioids, by luck, that tramadol, you can use tramadol once you've taken up all your opioids. Take that for a few days while the opioids are getting out of your system. Damn phone. While they're getting out of your system, after about 5 to 7 days, you've already flushed the opioids out, and the only thing that you're on now is tramadol, and you can just simply stop taking tramadol, and you'll come out smelling like a rose. That's going to do it for this episode of the show. Please like, share, subscribe. This channel has been online since, I think, 2017, and we're slowly getting people to subscribe to the channel. And here in the past 6 months, I'm beginning to get more and more emails from people asking questions, and also people giving me their success stories of how they used tramadol to get off opioids, how they did the 45-day benzo taper, and how much they appreciate these videos, because there wasn't any other option for them other than what I provided with them. Once again, I really do appreciate you watching. You guys have a great, blessed day. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you.